Hey everyone, welcome to this full moon Sidereal astrology forecast. This is for the full moon on October 13th going into the 14th of 2019. All right, so full moon in Pisces. If you're expecting me to say Aries just then, be sure to check out the link down below. We are using the actual size of the constellations, which does change the signs from mainstream astrology. All right, so second full moon in Pisces. The last one was here as well. And so now further development of the receptive qualities of ourselves. So Pisces is about essentially finding more peace and more tranquility in life. And oftentimes, in order to do this, we do have to surrender what's outside of our control, live more presently, perhaps accept more aspects of life or of ourselves. And in this way, we become more at peace. And so it's an excellent time to do this. Also favors things like creativity, imagination, and other etheric things as well. So with the full moon, we do have a T-square up to Pluto, Saturn in the south node. So a bit of a challenging collective energy with this one. Anything we can do to empower ourselves with Pluto, maybe face some fears, make some transformations, maybe see the long road with Saturn, some patience and discipline, maybe break some karmic cycles as well with that south node. But there is a nice trine up to Jupiter, so we could be feeling a bit inspired, and there could be some opportunities with the full moon. And we also do have Mercury changing sign going into Libra, so our minds might be thinking more in terms of balance and harmony during this time of the weekend as well. All right, so let's take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. All right, so here's the chart for the full moon. Again, it will be on Sunday, October 13th, but this video is for the 13th and 14th, both Sunday and Monday, since we will be feeling this energy both days there. Now, the actual time of the full moon will be at 16:29 Eastern time of the Americas, so if you do want to make that calculation for wherever you are in the world. All right, so here's the chart. We do have the moon here in Pisces, the second full moon that we've had in this constellation this year. And here's the sun over here opposite that in Virgo. And again, as you can see here, we are using the actual size of the constellations. So if you are new to the channel, definitely check out the link down below because the signs are different from mainstream. All right, so let's take a look here at, first of all, the sign of Pisces. Full moons are a time of awareness. It is the heightened part of the cycle, so we usually become more aware of elements of life. In this case, Piscean energy. How we can, again, have more acceptance in our life. Maybe things we're becoming aware of, like we might be servicing from the unconscious mind or from the collective unconsciousness, or perhaps from our spiritual selves. Things like intuition can be heightened, our creativity, our imagination. Sometimes we become more aware of our dreams and ideals as well. So with whatever is arising through here, it's likely on an etheric level. And fundamentally, the end goal, you could say, is not really a goal, but the sort of end result of Pisces is to have more peace and tranquility, right? It's the last sign of the zodiac. It's where we come full circle back around to surrendering and finding peace. So anything that we can accept, essentially, during this full moon, either about life, about ourselves, about our experiences, that by accepting can bring in more peace and tranquility. I think fundamentally that's a really good way of working with the full moon. Now, along with this, if there is anything that arises like a dream or ideal, that awareness could be also very supportive, because along with full moons is often a shifting time. And so what it suggests is that over the next 6 months of the solar cycle, we can be implementing whatever it is we become aware of. So obviously implementing more of this acceptance and surrender and trust of Pisces, but maybe even some of these dreams and ideals that we can be becoming more aware of, or things in our dreams or our intuitions. Again, this kind of etheric stuff. So awareness time, status check time, heightened part of the cycle, and with whatever it is we do become aware of, maybe making some shifts. How can we now implement some of this Piscean energy for the remainder of the cycle, which could be for the next 2 weeks of the lunar cycle, but even the whole 6 months of the solar cycle. So as all full moons are, it's important to find balance with them because they are oppositions with the sun. And in this case, we have the sun, and we've had a lot of the fast-moving planets over in grounded Virgo. So what naturally balances that watery, receptive Pisces is the more doing energy of Virgo. So to balance it out, I think it's great to still do the work with Virgo. It's a great time of seeing what can be improved in our life. So improving things, creating some structure, and bettering things, maybe things like our routine, health, diet, work, or service, right? More of this tangible in the world, creating structure, striving towards improving things or improving ourselves, right? So we can become the best version of ourselves. Our lives can, have that good structure there. And by doing all this sort of work with Virgo, it helps balance out the Piscean energy, because we really can't have one without the other. We can't have really healthy peace and trust and acceptance without physical health, right? Without having something we do on a routine basis, without being in the world, right? And vice versa, of course, to do the work and to, have these routines, we do, of course, need rest, receptivity, acceptance, presence, which is Pisces. So it's really the axes of being and doing, and finding that balance between both of those polarities. So that's definitely the most fundamental thing with the full moon. However, we do have some T-squares involving the Pluto-Saturn South Node conjunction that we've had this year. And the T-square is strongest with Pluto in this full moon. So with this, squares are about integration and challenging ourselves. They can be more collectively challenging, but it is for us to challenge ourselves. That's the best way of working with them. With Pluto, anything we can do to maybe make some changes, to transform some things, maybe sometimes needing to accept deep aspects of life, like fears or inhibitions or things we've buried under the rug, that as we also accept but work with, right, challenge ourselves with, transform, right, can be very empowering. And this full moon can be a very transformative time, a very empowering time as we do work with and challenge ourselves with these deeper aspects of our life. Now, along with this Saturn, this is a great time of seeing the long road, the patient road, what's going to take time and what's going to take discipline, right? This is also a great way of working with this full moon. And with the South Node, a good time to be aware of if there are any patterns that are being released. This is also the case with Pluto. So this combination, it could be breaking cycles, breaking patterns, but there's really nothing to do with the South Node as much as it's just becoming more aware of if there are any things coming up maybe from the past or karmically, that as we become more aware of, it just helps facilitate the releasing process. It's a very yin receptive way of approaching with it. And in this way, we release some of these things more healthfully, just simply with that awareness. All right, but along with this T-square, we do have a very strong trine up to Jupiter, the benefic, expansive planet in good harmony here. So along with this full moon, there could be maybe some inspirations, maybe some potentials, maybe some opportunities. We could be quite inspired maybe about some of these things. This Pluto-Saturn South Node have been in Sagittarius, so a lot of this could be about our beliefs and our perspectives. So I think it's a really good time to become more aware of what are our perspectives in life, because so much of life is, a result of how we perceive things. But yeah, very supportive there with that. And with Jupiter and Ophiuchus, maybe doing some healing that can come across as quite easy. Maybe some opportunities for healing or things we become aware of that as we heal, it can be very, very supportive for this part of the cycle. So definitely a combination energy, a bit of a challenge there with the deeper and earthy kind of planets, and then a support with more of the fiery planet here, in this case, Jupiter. So other than this, that is the most important stuff with the full moon. But let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 days here so you can see the times for some of these aspects. So again, the full moon will be at 16:29 on Sunday going into Monday. And we do have the sextile with the sun and Jupiter, the trine with Jupiter we just talked about, going exact on Sunday. So that Jupiterian energy, like I said, can be quite strong, but so can that Pluto energy. We're going to have the sun squaring up to Pluto going into Monday. So again, challenging ourselves with empowerment. Now, Mercury is changing sign, is going into Libra this part of the week. So kind of as a backdrop to a lot of this full moon energy, we may notice that we're starting to think about things in a different way or communicate in a different way. And coming out of Virgo, it's coming out of more of that detail-oriented and improvement-oriented way, which we still have a lot of planets of, but how we're thinking will likely shift more towards Libra, which is about thinking more about balance and harmony and fairness and communicating in this way, right? Thinking a little bit more about how to balance the scales and then communicating in a way that's a little bit more in terms of wanting to find that balance and fairness and mutuality and work with polarities and things like this. So we may notice a bit of that shift, but Mercury is also going to be sextiling up to Saturn this part of the week, so could be supportive for grounding our minds. Nothing major, but could be constructive for, again, thinking, communication, reading, writing, mercurial type of things. Quite grounded there with Saturn. All right, everyone, so that's the full moon in a nutshell. Most important thing is the awareness of Pisces, gaining greater receptivity and acceptance, balancing that with the work and improvement, which we do need, challenging ourselves towards empowerment and patience and breaking some patterns, and seeing opportunities and expanding our perspective can be very supportive. All right, so down below in the comment section, I will put which house this is for each of the signs. So if you do want to see specifically where this full moon in Pisces will be for your sidereal sign, do check that out. You can see that for both your sun, moon, and ascendant. And hope you all have a fantastic full moon. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next daily forecast. Take care.